All right. Today we are going to read this story, or part of it. Probably won't finish the whole thing. But what we're going to focus on is pronunciation and intonation, or parts of intonation. And intonation. Or parts of intonation. And wait, okay. Sorry. That always happens. I'll never learn my lesson. So we're not going to worry too much about the meaning. We will talk about interesting vocabulary that we see along the way, but that really won't be the main point of what we're doing. I should have done this earlier. Adjust the lights a little bit. It looks a little bit dark here. Okay. All right. So let's get started with this. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. For some reason, this seems a little bit more difficult to handle than last time. Okay, I think that's all right. I've got the whole page in here. Sorry. All right. So we'll start with this. It's not part of the dialogue, but we'll start with it anyway. Let's see. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. All right. So take a look at that phrase. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Scoffing is like, huh. So that's a scoff. Supernatural. Supernatural means like ghosts or magic or something like that. So whoever is saying this, I guess it's this man right here. And he's saying, I'm tired of people who scoff at the supernatural. Supernatural. Ollie Blue says, is the lesson starting right now? Yeah, I think so. I think I've got all of my problems fixed. Okay. So now, usually, if you want to sound more natural when you're speaking English, then you should try to figure out something about English intonation, which is that we're going to focus on some words and not focus on other words. I'm sure a lot of languages are like that, or all languages are like that, but maybe the way that we do it in English is a little bit weird. Fast Cars says hi. Hi, Fast Cars. So we have to pick some words here to focus on. Usually those words will be nouns or verbs or adjectives or adverbs. What do you think? In that sentence, I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. What do you think are the important words? What words should we focus on pronouncing? I think sick and tired, that's a very common phrase. That's something you say when you're very frustrated with someone or something. I'm sick and tired of my job. That means I hate my job. I can't. It's a fixed phrase. So I think that's something you would focus on. Let's see. Those who scoff. I think also maybe we should focus on this verb scoff. Scoff. Scoff is. So that's like when you laugh. It's kind of a combination of laughing and hating something. You laugh at it because you think it's stupid. Ghosts. Give me a break. And also supernatural. All right. So how do we emphasize or how do we focus on these words? Well, you could say them louder, or you could change your pitch. Say it high, say it low. But right now we're just going to focus on one thing, and that is extending the vowel sound of the syllable with the accent. So, I'm sick. That's how we're going to focus on these words. We're going to make the I in sick longer. I'm sick. And then we have this vowel sound in tired. But now, if you listen to the way that vowel sound is, it's like three sounds. Tired. I. I. So it's not just one sound. This is kind of what creates an accent, is that people will try to pronounce a very pure I, and they'll try to say tired, and creates problems. It creates problems for pronunciation, and it creates problems for listening. So we have to pronounce all three of those sounds. Tired, 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 tired. And because we're focusing on it, we'll make it a little bit longer. So we have I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. So if we want to focus on scoff, this is something I'm noticing. I'm just kind of learning this. I'm reading several books about it, and it's a very interesting subject. But I noticed with the letter S, that seems to sometimes get the focus. So if you were focusing on a word that ends with an S, like kiss, instead of saying kiss, you would say kiss. And here, then that's a very breathy sound. There's a lot of breath coming out of your mouth. Kiss. There's all air coming out at the end. I think the same thing would happen here with scoff. Instead of scoff, you'd say scoff. Scoff. I'm not sure if that's a rule yet, but that seems to be a pattern. That's a pattern that I'm noticing. I think as I continue to study this myself, maybe I'll run into that rule, but I seem to notice it. So I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. Of those who scoff at the supernatural. Now, supernatural is two words together. Which word do you think gets the accent? Supernatural. Supernatural. It's the word super. That's the word that we should be focusing on. And where's the accent in that syllable? Super. It's in the front. So let's extend that. Let's make that a little bit longer. Supernatural. 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 Really emphasize the vowel sound. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Okay. Now, we're practicing emphasizing words, but now let's also practice de-emphasizing words, because these other words that are in that sentence, we are not going to focus on. We're going to throw them in the garbage. So instead of I am sick and tired, you say I'm sick. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. You almost don't say it. You almost don't hear it. So I'm sick and tired. And then we have this phrase, of those who. We're not emphasizing that. Of those who. Of those who. Of those who. Of those who. Actually, I think I would say of those who. Of those who. Of those who. If you're not emphasizing it, you can throw some of the sounds away. Of those who. I'm sick and tired of those who. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. This is why it's difficult to understand spoken English, but it's also why you have an accent when you speak. This is hard to do. It takes practice. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. And then we have at the, which becomes one word, at the, at the, at the. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. All right. Let's read the next line. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Okay, well, to swear is like to make a promise. I promise. This is used like in a court. Let's see. Just in case you don't know this, we should probably try to find a picture of it. So maybe you recognize a picture like this. And this is when you go into a courtroom and you promise that you're going to tell the truth. And then after you make this kind of promise, if they find that you're lying, you can be in a lot of trouble. This is swearing. It's like a promise. And swear is an irregular verb. It's swear, swore, sworn. And here, a sworn affidavit. So, you know, if you go into a court face to face, you swear in front of the judge that you're going to tell the truth. But sometimes it's not important for you to go to the court, so you sign a piece of paper and then deliver it to the court. And so that's a sworn affidavit. And a specter is a ghost. It's another name for a ghost. So he's saying, what do you want? A sworn affidavit from a ghost? Meaning, do you want the ghost to sign a piece of paper, a legal piece of paper, saying that they exist? Okay. So now let's look at that. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Specter is ghost. What do you think we should emphasize in this word? And remember, usually what you're going to emphasize, it will probably be either an adjective, a noun, an adverb, or a verb. But it could be other things too. It really depends. That's what's so hard about intonation. There are rules, or there are guidelines, but they're very loose. And there's a lot of freedom to express yourself however you want. So we have to decide what we think we should be emphasizing here. What do you think are the important words? Do they want sworn affidavits? I think sworn affidavits. That's what I would go with. Signed by, and then maybe specters and signed. Let's try that. So remember, all we're going to do is extend the syllable sound, the accented syllable sound. So we've got the word sworn. That already has a very long vowel sound in the middle of it. It's uo, uo, sworn, uo. But we have to make it a little bit longer. Sworn, sworn. Do they want sworn? And then because sworn and affidavits goes together, I don't think that we have to focus too much on affidavits. We'll just focus on sworn. Do they want sworn affidavits? Sworn. Do they want sworn affidavits? Signed by specters? So we'll also focus on specters. Specters. Signed by specters. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? So the other words, we're going to minimize them. We're going to throw them in the garbage. Do they want? Do they want? Do they want? Do they want sworn affidavits? So affidavits you give a little emphasis to, but not like you do to sworn. Do they want sworn affidavits? Sworn is like the peak of that idea. Do they want sworn affidavits? Signed by specters? I changed my mind. I think we should be emphasizing signed. Just when I read it, that seems to be where the pyramid gets to the top. So signed, because we're going to emphasize it, we'll extend that I to something very long. Signed. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Yeah, that sounds much better. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to... Oh, maybe we won't do that today. I wanted to use this interesting tool that analyzes your tone as you talk. But I think maybe we'll use that for another time, since I didn't even open it today. Okay, let's take a look at the next line, which is, do they want vampires on the witness stand? So they're using a lot of court terminology here. Let me just show you what a witness stand is. You've probably seen this in movies or TV shows or something like that. But when you're in a court, and then the witness, the person who said, this is what I saw, they sit in this place next to the judge, and that is called the witness stand. All right, so let's go back And let's see. Do they want vampires in the witness stand? I think the words that we should emphasize here would be vampires and witness stand. So we'll throw away that first phrase. Do they want? Do they want? It will be very short. Do they want? And then now when we get to vampires, where's the accented syllable in that word? Where's the focus? That's vam. Vampires. Vampires. So you say the first... vampires. Yeah, you say the first syllable with a lot of emphasis. But because we're going to focus on this word in the phrase, we're going to make that extra long. I don't know if you notice this, but the A sound is like 3 sounds. It's vampires. Vampires. Do they want vampires? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? And when you have a phrase, 2 words, like a noun and then an adjective describing the noun, probably what you want to do is focus on the adjective. So we have to focus on witness. Witness. So we'll say that a little extra long. Witness stand. Witness stand. Vampires on the witness stand. So we have those 2 words on in the middle, but they become very small. We don't care about those words. It's really hard to hear those words when somebody is talking. On the vampires on the vampires on the witness stand. Vampires on the witness stand. Do they want vampires on the witness stand? Vampires on the witness stand. Do they want vampires on the witness stand? Let's try that from the beginning. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Do they want affidavits signed by specters? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? They will get nothing like that here. What do you think we should emphasize? What do you think are the important words in that phrase? They will get nothing here. I think, in my opinion, and again, this is the difficult thing about practicing intonation, it's because it's your own interpretation or your interpretation of what the person who is writing this is. So we could disagree, but I think that we should focus on get and nothing and maybe here. Let's see. They will get, I think, not even get. I think I would focus on nothing. They will get nothing here. Nothing. No. So if you're just saying that word regularly, nothing. Nothing. The accent, where's the accent? Nothing. It's on na. The accent is on na. But if you're going to emphasize the word in a phrase, you're going to want to place more emphasis on that syllable, that stressed syllable. You want to emphasize na. And maybe that means saying it a little bit louder, or maybe it means saying it in a high pitch or a low pitch. But we're not talking about that today. We're just talking about making the vowel sound a little bit longer as we do it. Nothing. Nothing. They will get nothing here. Maybe that's the only word to stress in that phrase. They'll get nothing like that here. Maybe here. 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 They'll get nothing like that here. No, maybe just nothing. They'll get nothing like that here. So we have they will get, but we're going to throw that in the garbage. So we don't say they will get nothing here. They'll get nothing. They'll get nothing. They'll get. You see, it's very small. It's very condensed. They'll get nothing here. Maybe we do emphasize here a little. This is hard. It's hard for me to figure out. This is hard. It's just as hard for me to figure out as it is for you. What follows is merely the true account of what happened in Donnerwald in 1832. Okay. So what follows is merely the true account let's the true account of what happened. Let's stop there. What follows is the true account of what happened. What do you think are the important words in that phrase? I think follows, maybe merely. Merely is an adverb here. Merely, and true. I like true. So let's try that. What we're doing is we're just going to extend the accented syllable. We're just going to extend that in duration. So follow. Where's the which syllable is accented in follow? The first syllable, fa. So what follows, we'll just make that a little bit longer. I can't help changing the pitch and changing the volume a little bit, but I'm trying not to. What follows, so instead of follows, it's follows. What follows is merely, so we can emphasize merely. But listen to that vowel sound. Now, merely, first of all, the accent is on the first syllable. Merely. But, that sound is really hard for people to produce sometimes, that E sound. What you have to do is, when you're saying it, you have to make sure you're pushing out a lot of air. Maybe pretend like there's an H after the I. So it's like you're saying meh. And trying to pronounce that H will force you to push more air. Also, you smile when you do it. Merely. I always try to tell people it's like saying I 3 times with a big push in the middle. Merely. Let's see. What follows is merely. It's not I, it's E. What follows is merely the true account. Okay. So we have account, which means story, and true, which I hope you know that word. And when you have an adjective which is describing a noun, you want to emphasize the adjective. And I think you don't have to, but here I think we have to emphasize the adjective. So instead of just true, it's true. True account. Let's see. What follows is merely the true account. That's difficult. What follows is merely the true account of what happened in Donnerwald in 1832. Okay. And should we emphasize anything here of what happened in Donnerfield in 1832? I think happened. And maybe Donnerwald, actually, which seems to be the name of a town. Of what happened in Donnerwald. In 1832. So we'll just take the accented syllable of those words and we'll make it a little bit longer. What happened in Donnerwald. Okay, now let's go back to the beginning of this writing. And let's practice 2 things. Focusing on the words that we decided were important by extending the vowel sound in the accented syllables, but also condensing, minimizing, making the other phrases smaller. So first, we start with the first phrases that we emphasized was sick and tired. So if you weren't watching earlier, that sound I is like 3 sounds. I. So if you're going to emphasize this word, it's very important to say all of those sounds. Tired. Tired. So I'm sick and tired. Notice that I am sick is just I'm sick. It's like one word. It's just a word. I'm sick. And then the word and, it just becomes I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. Now, the next word that we focused on was scoff. Scoff. That's like, pff, huh. That's scoffing. So that's scoff. Oh, scoff, scoff, scoff. So when you say scoff, you have to give a kiss. Scoff. See, watch, I'm giving you a kiss. Mwah. Wah, wah, scoff. Then you take it back. Scoff, scoff. Okay. So the words before it, we're just going to throw in the garbage. Okay, so we have of those who, of those who, of those who, of those who, of those who scoff, of those who scoff. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff. So really the words that you hear, or the words that you should understand or hear very clearly are the special words, sick, tired, and scoff. And the other words kind of melt into the background. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Okay, so I think that we emphasized sworn. Now think about that vowel sound in sworn. Oh, it's like scoff. It's o-oo-wah. Scoff, sworn, sworn. So again, you have to give a kiss if you're going to say that word correctly. See, watch, I'll give a kiss when I say sworn. Sworn, sworn. See, I'm giving a big kiss. Scoff, sworn. Okay, so that becomes important if you're emphasizing this word. Do they want sworn? Do they want sworn affidavits? And then let's focus on the word signed. Now, that letter, that sound, I, think about that. That's more than one sound. It's not I. It's I. I. I-E. I-E. So if you're emphasizing that word, it's important to get those sounds. Signed. It's like I-E-E. Signed. Signed. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by Okay, let's read that from the beginning. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Now let's read the next question. Do they want vampires on the witness stand? Okay, and I think in this sentence we've emphasized vampires and perhaps witness stand. So again, we've also got to practice minimizing the words that are not important. That's good for your accent, good for your pronunciation, but it's also really great for finally understanding when people are talking to you. Because these are the words that you say, huh, what? What are you talking about? Because it just sounds like one long word. Do they want? Do they want? Do they want? Do they want? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? Okay, let's start from the beginning again. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? They will get nothing like that here. Okay, and I think that on this phrase, we emphasize the word nothing. So if you use will, you can of course use the contraction, they will get, they'll get. And actually, if you pronounce the full word, if you say they will get, it sounds like you are focusing on that word will. So most of the time, if it's not a truly important word, it will be like a contraction. They'll get. They'll. So it's, or maybe you could say they'll. It doesn't matter here. They'll get. Okay, but we do want to focus on nothing. Nothing. Nah. Nah. So, because we want to emphasize the in nothing, imagine there's an H after that vowel sound, just to force you to push out more air and extend it a little bit. Nothing. They'll get nothing. They'll get nothing. They'll get nothing like that here. They'll get nothing like that here. All right, shall we try it from the beginning? This is getting a little bit, I think it's fun. I don't know about you, but I actually think this is kind of fun and interesting to do. But it might be annoying that I keep going back to the beginning. I think it's good practice though. Okay, so I will stop if you complain in the chat, but if not, I will continue doing this. I'm sick and tired of those who scoff at the supernatural. Do they want sworn affidavits signed by specters? Do they want vampires on the witness stand? They will get nothing like that here. Okay, and then let's read the final part. What follows is merely the true account, true story of what happened. Okay, and then what did we emphasize? We emphasized what follows. What follows, and then we emphasized merely. And now remember that sound it's very complex. It's a lot of sounds. Merely. It's not merely. It's merely. It's like merely. Okay, what follows is merely the true account. So we want to emphasize true here. True. So a lot of times, if you're learning English, because I don't think a lot of languages do this, you want to say something like true, true, and perhaps in the middle of a sentence, if that word is not important, it doesn't matter. Nobody will notice probably, but because it's a special word, a word that we are focusing on, it's very important to say all of the vowel and even make the vowel sound bigger. True. True. It's like a triple kiss. True. You have to kiss. You have to feel yourself giving a kiss 3 times. True. 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 It's a super kiss. What follows is merely the true account of what happened in Donnerwald in 1832. Okay. I think that's enough of that page. Let's move on here to the next line, which is, Donnerwald lay in a valley. It was a peaceful town, world famous for its beer. What do you think is the word that we should focus on in Donnerwald lay in a valley? Probably lay and valley, and perhaps Donnerwald. Okay, let's focus on those 3 things. So we've got Donnerwald. Where's the accent in that? Donnerwald, 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 Donnerwald. That's the first syllable. So let's imagine that there's a little H after that and say Donnerwald, Donnerwald, Donnerwald. Okay, and then the next thing that we want to focus on is lay. So we'll just make that extra long. But pay attention to the fact that there are 2 sounds here. That sound is e, lay. Lay. So there are 2 sounds, and sometimes that's really hard for people learning English to understand that these letters have more than 1 sound in them. Lay. Lay. Donnerwald lay. It's a very long sound. If you don't, especially if you're focusing on it, if you don't make it long, it will sound strange. Donnerwald lay. That would sound really maybe hard to understand. Maybe I couldn't understand you if you said it like that. It's a very long sound. Donnerwald lay. Donnerwald lay in a valley. Donnerwald lay in a valley. And now, in a is something that we're going to throw in the garbage. We're not going to worry too much about it. In a becomes inna. 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 Donnerwald lay in a valley. And we can emphasize valley. 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 Donnerwald lay in a valley. Donnerwald lay in a valley. Let's move on to the next sentence or next phrase, which is, it was a peaceful town. And what do you think we should focus on there? I think the best word to focus on in this phrase would be peaceful, because it describes town, and usually when you have an adjective describing a noun, well, that's the definition of an adjective, that is the word where you want to put the focus on the adjective and not really the noun. So let's extend the E in peaceful, because peaceful, the accent is on peace. Peaceful. But instead of peaceful, let's say peaceful. Make it bigger. Make it much bigger than normal. Peaceful town. Now, these other words are words that we can throw in the garbage. It was a. 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 It was a peaceful town. Maybe we'll put a little accent on town. It was a peaceful town. It was a peaceful town. Okay, and then let's take a look at the final line here. Famous for its beer. What do you think we should emphasize in this phrase? Famous for its beer. I think the word famous and beer would be good choices. So where's the accent on the word famous? Famous. That's on the first syllable, fay. So let's make that bigger than normal. Famous, famous, famous. And then also, because we're going to emphasize beer, let's make that bigger. Beer, beer, ear, beer. Famous beer. Okay, but then those two words in the middle, we're just going to throw them in the garbage. Forts, forts, forts. Famous for its beer. Famous for its beer. So let's go back to the beginning of this, and let's focus on the important words and throw the unimportant words into the garbage. Donnerwald lay in a valley. It was a peaceful town, world famous for its beer. Okay, we're exaggerating, but that's what we have to do in order to improve. Okay, why don't we move? Let's move to the next page. The dolls of Hans Bassermann were weird, grotesque. People shuddered, but people bought. Okay, so the dolls of Hans Bassermann were weird, grotesque. Grotesque means ugly, disgusting. People shuddered. We were reading a book earlier this morning in a different video, and we had that word several times, shuddered. Shuddered is when you go, ooh. So when you see the dolls, you don't say, oh, what beautiful, cute dolls. You say, ooh, dolls. People shuddered, but people bought. Okay? So let's look at the first phrase. The dolls of Hans Bassermann were weird. What words in that phrase do you think we should be focusing on? I think we should focus on dolls and weird. So let's extend the vowel sound in the word dolls. The dolls, the dolls. Okay, and then we'll take the rest of this phrase of Hans Basserman were, and we'll make that like one word, very short, not really paying too much attention to the pronunciation of each sound. Of Hans Basserman were. Of Hans. Sometimes of just sounds like a. A Hans Basserman were. A Hans Basserman were. The Dows a Hans Basserman were. Okay, and then finally we can go back to the word weird, where now we have to focus once again. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird. Were weird. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird. Okay, and then I think we also have to focus on this word grotesque. Grotesque means ugly, disgusting. Grotesque. Where's the accented syllable in grotesque? It's on the second syllable, which is tesque. And it seems to me that if you have a syllable that ends with an S, then instead of focusing on the vowel sound, you should focus on the S. So we'll make the S longer. Grotesque. So normal grotesque, grotesque. Accented grotesque, grotesque. Grotesque. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird. Grotesque. People shuddered. Remember, shudder is ugh. People shuddered. So I think we should focus on that word shuddered. Shuddered. And again, it seems if we've got this SH sound that we should make that longer. So instead of making very long, we'll make sh very long. People shuddered. People shuddered. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird, grotesque. People shuddered. But people bought. What should we focus on in that phrase? But people bought. Bought or people. Well, let's try both. But people bought. We could do it like that. We could say, but people bought. Or we could do it like this. But people bought. Either way, I think that works. All right, let's read through that one more time. And let's pay attention to emphasizing the important words and throwing the unimportant words into the garbage. The Dows of Hans Basserman were weird, grotesque. People shuddered, but people bought. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next bit of dialogue here. Madam is right. My dolls are not meant for children. They are works of art, carved with infinite care, based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. Now, our first phrase is, Madam is right. Let's see. What do you think we should focus on here? I think right. And maybe Madam. Madam is right. No, don't focus on right. That sounds scary. That sounds like a scary monster talking. Madam is right. I think just Madam is the word that we focus on here. Madam is right. So he's talking to a woman and he's saying, you're right. He's just being very polite, calling her Madam. Instead of you, he's saying Madam. Madam is right. Now let's take a look at the next phrase. My dolls are not meant for children. Oh, let's see. What do you think we should focus on here? My dolls are not meant for children. I think, in my opinion, I would focus on meant and children. So that means that we'll say the first part just like one word. My dolls are not. My dolls are not. My dolls are not. My dolls are not meant. So when we get to meant, we'll just make that vowel sound extra long. My dolls are not meant for children. My dolls are not meant for children. We don't even have to focus on meant. We could just focus on children. My dolls are not meant for children. My dolls are not meant for. My dolls are not meant for. I think that's best. Just focus on children. So where's the accent on children? It's on the first syllable. Children, children, children. So let's imagine that there's an H sound after that I, just to make you push out the I a little bit more. Children, children. My dolls are not meant for children. So all of that other phrase, all the rest of the phrase becomes like one word. My dolls are not meant for. My dolls are not meant for. My dolls are not meant for children. My dolls are not meant for children. Madam is right. My dolls are not meant for children. Yet I want to also emphasize meant. Maybe we'll put a little emphasis on meant. My dolls are not meant for children. My dolls are not meant for children. They are works of art. They are works of art. Now that's a phrase, work of art. And I think that if we want to emphasize this phrase, we have to emphasize the word work. They are works of art. They're works of art. They're works of art. Madam is right. My dolls are not meant for children. They're works of art. Carved. Oh, wait a minute. We have to read it first. Carved with infinite care. What do you think we should emphasize in that phrase? Carved with infinite care. I think carved and perhaps infinite. Let's see. Carved with infinite care. Carved with infinite care. I think you could say it either way. I think the most natural way would just be to emphasize carved. Carved with infinite care. But if you were very proud of the work and you wanted to let everyone know how careful you were, you could say carved with infinite care. You could say it like that. But I think it would be more normal just to say carved with infinite care and throw the rest in the garbage. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. Which words do you think we should focus on in that final part? Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. Maybe centuries? Based on designs. Based on designs. Based on designs. I think based on designs. And centuries. Let's try that. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. Why do I, when I read that, I just naturally, I focus on been. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. I guess maybe the reason you would want to focus on been, have been, is that you're talking, well, let's see. Based on, let's just say the focus words. Based on been centuries. I think there must be more. Based on designs, been with family centuries. That's your focus. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. Okay, but notice how we're throwing everything else into the garbage. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries, that have been with my family, that sometimes people just say that have been. This is how you say that have when it's in the garbage. Based on designs that have been with my family. With my family for. With my family for. With my family for. See, it's funny because if you pronounce the word for in the normal, typical way, it should be a very long sound. For. It's like three sounds. Or, for. But when you are using it as part of a phrase, something that is not being emphasized, it's just for. Been with my family for. But now we're emphasizing centuries, so it would sound like this. That have been with my family for centuries. That have been with my family for centuries. 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 So you have to imagine that there's an H after that E to really bring out the E for emphasis. Centuries. So it's not centuries, but centuries, because you're emphasizing it. Based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. All right, let's go back and read from the beginning. Madam is right. Remember, we're just emphasizing madam in that phrase. Madam is right. My dolls are not meant for children. So we're going to emphasize dolls and meant and children. My dolls are not meant for children. And the really important thing to notice is not just the emphasis of special words, but also the way that the other words just melt like ice in the middle. My dolls are not meant for children. My dolls are not meant for children. So it isn't my dolls are not meant for children. The words that are emphasized become long, and the words that are not emphasized become very short. My dolls are not meant for children, are not meant for children. They're works of art. They are. So we're emphasizing works of art. Works takes all of the emphasis. They're works of art. They're works of art. My dolls are not meant for children. They're works of art, carved with infinite care, based on designs that have been with my family for centuries. And then somebody's buying a doll. I'll take it. That's what you say when you're going to buy something. I'll take it. Okay. Well, now somewhere in the darkness, someone is saying, Hans carve a pretty doll. Okay, and that's grammatically very strange. So it sounds like monster. Oh wait, it's because I missed the top. Only for Gretchen would Hans carve a pretty doll. What do you think we would emphasize in that? Only for Gretchen would Hans carve a pretty doll. I think only Gretchen. Well, this is kind of a special sentence. This is an inversion with would. We can't really talk about that here. I can't really explain that to you here. It's too complicated. But I think in this case, because of the way that would is being used, it's being used in a very unique way, a pretty advanced way. We should emphasize that word. So we've got only for Gretchen. So we're going to emphasize the only, the O in only for Gretchen. Maybe not Gretchen. Let's not emphasize Gretchen. Only for Gretchen would Hans carve a pretty doll. Okay, wait, let's just keep going here. Hans, how beautiful. Not half as beautiful as you will look at our wedding, Liebchen. Will your father be at home tonight? I will ask him again. Okay, so let's take a look at that phrase. Not half as beautiful as you will look. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen that phrase, not half as. It's a pretty common phrase. How do you use that? That would be like me saying, Chicago is a big city. But somebody would say, but not half as big as Mexico City. Mexico City is much larger than Chicago. More than double, I'm sure of that. So, when you say something is not half as, and then you put an adjective, it means it's smaller than something else. It's not as important as something else. So when someone says, "Oh, Hans, that's a beautiful doll," the girl said that, and he said, "Not half as beautiful as you." So that's like saying you are 2 times more beautiful. But the point of this is that we have to, because this is a phrase, we have to emphasize this word half. Not half as beautiful as you. So when you say half, you have to make sure that you're making like a double sound. Not half as beautiful as you. Not half as beautiful as you will look at our wedding, Liebchen. Will your father be at home tonight? What do you think we should emphasize in that question? Will your father be at home tonight? Maybe father and home? So we have will your, which just would become will your. Will your father? Will your father? We'll have to extend that first syllable because that's where the accent is. Will your father? And then we have be at. Will your father be at home? So the words we're emphasizing are father and home. And the other words you don't hear too clearly because we're kind of putting them in the background, throwing them in the garbage. Will your father be at home tonight? I will ask him again. All right, let's see. Let's go back and reread this dialogue. Not half as beautiful as you will look at our wedding, Liebchen. Will your father be at home tonight? I will ask him again. That night. Sir, I have come again to arrange the wedding date. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. I hope this time there will be no more delay. Okay, so in the first phrase, we have I have come again to arrange the wedding date. And I think that the words that we should focus on here are maybe arrange and wedding date. So because wedding is describing date, we have to emphasize the word wedding. So let's see. We've got I have come again. I've come. So now let's just take that phrase I've come again and try to condense it into one word. I've come again. I've come again. I've come again to. I've come again to arrange. I've come again to arrange. And then we get to wedding date. So we have to make sure to really extend the in wedding. Wedding date. Wedding date. I've come again to arrange the wedding date. So just notice how the other words disappear. I've come again to. I've come again to. Maybe even I've come again to. I've come again to. I've come again to arrange. I don't think so. I think here you probably would want to say to because it's part of an emphasized word. I've come again to arrange. Arrange. And just to think about that, some people have a very hard time saying a. It's two sounds. It's e. A. Arrange. I've come again to arrange the wedding date. So when we say wedding date, you have to imagine that there's an H after the E in wedding. Wedding. Just, there's not really an H there, but just to try to extend the E and make it a bigger sound than it normally is. The wedding date. To arrange the wedding date. I've come again to arrange the wedding date. Sir, I've come again to arrange the wedding date. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. All right, so we've got both Gretchen and I are very eager. What do you think are the important words in that sentence? Maybe Gretchen and I and eager. Let's see, both Gretchen and I Both Gretchen and I are very eager. I think actually, both Gretchen and I are very eager. I think actually I would just focus on the word eager in here. Okay, so just remember this is not E. It's not eager. But it's like 3 E's with a big E in the middle. Eager. Eager. Both Gretchen and I, it's like one word. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. All right, let's read that from the beginning. Sir, I've come again to arrange the wedding date. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. So it's funny. This is why you have a hard time understanding what people are saying. Because the words that are not emphasized become like one long word. Both Gretchen and I are very. Both Gretchen and I are very. And they're not pronounced very clearly. You just sort of run them together. Nobody cares. English is a very lazy language. But when you get to the word that's important, you have to say it very clearly. Eager. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. Sir, I've come again to arrange the wedding date. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. I hope this time there will be no more delay. What do you think we should emphasize in that sentence? I think it's possible to do hope, but actually I don't think I would here. But you could. I think this time is important and no more delay. No more delay. And that phrase, no more delay, I think we'll really have to hit on no more and not care too much about delay. Let's see. Let's try it. So first, now you could say, I hope this time there will be no more delay. I hope this time there will be no more delay. If you emphasize that phrase, I hope, that means like, hey, don't disappoint me. Don't say no again. So it's possible that you could emphasize that. But let's not do it. Let's just say, I hope. I hope this time, let's emphasize this time. And because this time is a phrase, and this is sort of acting like an adjective here, we'll make the S very long. I hope this time. So now instead of extending the vowel sound because we have an S, we'll make the S very long. I hope this time there will be no more. Okay, now because we are not emphasizing there will be no, these are garbage words. It will just become one word, one very long word. There'll be no. There will, there'll be no. There'll be no. There'll be no. There'll be no. There'll be no more delay. So now, but when we get to delay, or more delay, we'll want to really put a lot of emphasis on no more. No more. Now, if you think about that word more, that's hard to pronounce because it has a lot of little secret sounds inside of it. I think a lot of people learning English will probably have a difficult time saying that word and probably will say something like more, 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 no more, no more, something like that. But that's actually a very complicated vowel sound. It's oh, oh, oh. There's a kiss in it too. Oh, you see how I'm kissing when I say that? Oh, oh, no more, 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 more. No. Same thing happens with no. No, no. There's a kiss in no. No more. No more. No more. All right, so we have this time. I hope this time there'll be no more. There'll be no more. There'll be. There will be. There'll be. We've got to throw that in the garbage. There'll be. There'll be no more delay. There'll be no more delay. There'll be no more delay. I hope this time, make the S long. I hope this time there'll be no more delay. All right, let's go back and try to read this from the beginning. Sir, I have come again to arrange the wedding date. Both Gretchen and I are very eager. I hope this time there'll be no more delay. All right. Well, I think that's enough of this exercise for today. It's pretty complicated, but no, it's not really that complicated. It just takes practice. And you have to, the problem really is to focus on, or to decide which words to focus on. That could be a problem. But that's, I think, the part that takes practice. And this, I think this is a very useful exercise, one for sounding more natural, although we're exaggerating, obviously, when we do this. But also, it's a really good way to analyze and practice the very complicated vowel sounds that we have in English, and to help you pronounce them extra clear. And also to understand spoken English, which, while we're talking, we have a tendency to throw a lot of words in the garbage. We don't care about them. We just focus on the important words. But I will be back again soon and maybe try to add a little bit extra onto this idea of focusing by extending the vowel sound. Maybe next time we'll add a little bit of pitch to our sentences. By that I mean going up or going down, but we'll see. All right, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you tune in next time when we continue this. Goodbye.